Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh. I feel like I just need to start just, oh my gosh. So, not a bad day. Absolutely not. Not a bad day. Crazy. Yeah, I would definitely go with that. So, let's talk about the current situation with my notes for tonight. Okay, so I have been I've been going back and forth to my mom's house quite a bit because one of my dogs is currently staying at my mom's house. And so I've been going over there and working. And I somewhere in the mix of this going back and forth to my mom's, I put down my notebook uh that's metaphysical practices because I have several, okay? This is the one that's full that I used up like, like last year or something. I don't know. Anyway, I have a new one and I cannot find it. And I had all these wonderful, wonderful notes. Hello, Mel Bailey. I have all these wonderful, wonderful notes like telling me, like, what I was going to talk about. And I was like breaking it down. And hey, Kelsey, oh my gosh, I love it when the Nebraska contingent is present. I know. I feel like I need to take a roll call like for that. I don't know. I'm trying to get the chat up for Facebook because I have to have Facebook on my phone in order to see the chat. So anyway, so here we are. Very exciting. I don't have my notes, so I'm going to try to remember as much as I can. So, God, the universe, spirit, Buddha, whatever you believe in needs to come and help us right now because my memory wouldn't exactly say that it's top notch. Okay. Mostly menopause. I don't know. I mean, I've heard it's like a menopause thing. I think that, I can remember a lot of what happened like a long time ago, but yeah, it's just tragic trying to keep up with this. Okay. Well, hello, Robin. Okay. So I'm going to try to remember where all of this came from. So I want to talk about fighting the good fight. And this is going to serve us in several different capacities because I thought about this over the weekend. Okay. So I don't know what my cat is chasing. But the last time my cat was chasing something turned out to be a lizard, and I was recording and I like look over and I'm like, what does my cat have in its mouth? And then I was like, oh my gosh, it's a lizard. And I had to like edit it out. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, so I thought about this over the weekend and a lot has actually happened. Climate, politically, whatever, since then. And this is not why I thought of this topic. Not at all. I thought about this because I was like, I was talking to somebody about their profession, the industry that they're in. And by the way, before I forget any further, thank you guys so much for all the well wishes, for all the like energy, for all the healing and like prayers, whatever you guys did. Look at my hand. It is so much better. Like this finger is almost completely healed. I may actually be able to put on fingernails soon. Yeah. But my finger, the swelling is going down a lot. I mean, it really is. Look at that. It's almost regular size. Almost. Can you see? And I'm having to put on so much lotion because like the skin is like peeling off of it. It's getting so much better. It really is healing rather quickly. So moving in a good direction as far as the hand, and it doesn't throb. Like I have it like sitting on my desk a lot of the day. I'm able to shuffle my cards mostly, So I'm able to sort of function with my hands. They just look a little rough right now. My hands are showing my age. This is scary. We don't love that. So, I know it's, but thank you guys so much. My hand really is healing, so I'm hoping that now I can like get back into the rhythm of stuff. I will say it is not easy to hold a pen because this is how I write, and like my pen wants to sit right on that sore place. So I've been trying to write like this, and that's it's weird. My handwriting looks like crap, y'all. It's bad. Trying to make notes, and I made a lot of notes this weekend. So it really pisses me off that I can't find my notebook. Okay. So what started this is last Thursday I was talking to a client, and in his industry, he was talking about how um, he eh, he's been like looking at some, other people that like do something similar in his industry. And he said that a friend of his, like about 8 years ago, that there was like these people that these leaders in this I don't even know what to call it. It is an industry, but it's sort of an independent thing. It's almost like influencers, but it's not. I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, so all these people wanted everyone to think like them. Everybody, like all this group, let's just call them a conglomerate. They wanted all these other people that were running facilities or running sites like that were similar to theirs. They wanted them to think like them. They wanted them to operate like them. And if you didn't, what they did was they tried to put you out of business. They tried to make it seem like you were unstable, or they tried to flag and say like that you were like a bad person or something. And they did this to a number of people, like trying to boot them out of this industry. And I think what they wanted everybody that didn't follow how they wanted people to be, how they wanted people to act. I think what they did was they were like, "Oh, well, go work at Macy's or go work for an MLM." Just being cheeky or whatever. And they they were just ruthless about it. And they're supposed to be they're kind of like nonprofity, not exactly, but they were kind of supposed to be like humanitarians, but they weren't. So he said at that time he was just starting out. He had finally gotten his own franchise. He was like, I'm in this. I'm finally like moving in the right direction. And he was finally like, he felt like he was finally in a place of like management, like leadership or whatever. And he saw some people like just, he saw the bad behaviors, and he stayed on the outskirts of it. And he was like, I didn't step in and I didn't fight for some of these people. And he said, a couple of them are doing okay. He said, I know some of them. And some of these people were just like, no, I'm not going to put up with this. And they just kept fighting back. And he goes, a couple of them stepped back. And then when the heat was off, they came back and started their business again. And he said, and they just didn't make a big deal out of it. And he said, but I felt really bad because I felt like I never defended those people enough. I felt like I didn't step in and defend them when they needed some support. And he goes, but I didn't feel like steady. I didn't feel like I was strong enough in my own position to be able to do that. And he said, now I do. It's been 8 years about, and he said, I feel much stronger. And he said, what I'm seeing is that some of these people that were bullies that tried to make everybody do things their way, and which was bad business practices, or can you tell me what's going on? Okay, Mercury. Oh my gosh. Which was very bad business practices. It was a lot of just stuff that was just, I almost want to say borderline illegal. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't in their businesses. But now a lot of these people are getting called out. A lot of these people are like getting in trouble with the IRS, or getting, And I'm no tax expert. I'm really not. I mean, there's a reason why I go to H&R Block or do TurboTax, because I have no idea what I'm doing. Not a clue. It would not, and I'm not wishing for this, but if for some reason I got audited, it would not surprise me, because I don't know what I'm doing. You need tax people for that stuff, okay? And honestly, I mean, the tax stuff is just like, no, no. I studied biology and the human body for years, and I would rather like relearn all the nerves in the body than go through dealing with tax stuff. That's crazy. So anyway, a lot of these people have been called out. They've been getting in trouble with like the IRS, with like legal situations. For example, like, I'm not saying that it's this industry, but it's like, the Sean Combs trial. I mean, there's lots of stuff coming into play that things are starting to sort of come around, you know? And I want to say karma is coming around. It really is. If you've been working hard, if you've been like making changes in your life, if you've been trying to improve instead of go backwards, you're just, hey, Mindy, how are you? If you, whatever is going on, like, if you're not doing things the right way and you are still doing things very unhealthy, very unwise, borderline illegal, I don't know. This is just my opinion, by the way. If you're doing those, the thing is, karma is really starting to come back around. And it is a lot of astrology. There's a lot of stuff going on in astrology right now that is like coming back up and coming back around. I think we talked about this on the show, where I was talking with another client and we were discussing the fact that Neptune has not been in Aries since the American Civil War. That Uranus has not been in Gemini since World War II. And there was one other thing, and I can't remember. Hang on, it'll come to me. But it was another, Pluto. Yeah, how can I miss that? Pluto has not been like in Aquarius since just after the American Revolutionary War and the French Revolutionary War. So what we saw with all three of those different things is that people were trying to buck oppression. People were fighting against oppression. People were fighting against like unethical governance. That's a way to put it. Now, am I talking about politics? No. I am looking at this at a different level. Yes, we can look at it at a political level, but we can also look at it in our personal lives, in our personal businesses, in our friendships, our families, in our community, whatever. We can look at this at a definitely smaller scale, okay? The reason why I say this is because, every time Mars goes into Gemini, something gets revealed. Okay, in 2008, it was the whole real estate mortgage loan like situation, like it was really ugly, right? It was really ugly. In 2022, when it happened, look back just on YouTube. Look back at social media. That dude from the Try Guys, do y'all remember him? The wife guy, Ned something? Ned Fulmer. See, I had all this written down in my notebook and now I can't find it. But anyway, Ned Fulmer. He was called out for having an affair during that time. There were several other YouTubers and other social media like people, and there was lots of people during that time that were found out. I discovered things that were going on in my personal life during that time. What are they doing? Okay, there's Mercury, but what are you doing? I hear that if they break that heater again, Okay, they didn't actually break the heater the other day. Dr. Seuss came down, looked at it. It turns out that the cats had pressed something or whatever, but I was down here freezing my hair off when my fingers throbbing. I'm trying to edit. You couldn't move the mouse, like all this stuff, because they had messed with my heater. It is cold right now in Georgia, and these cats are over there messing with my heater. One of them, at least. I mean, the big one that heats the whole place, and then I got another one over here that just heats me, you know? It's crazy. It's so much better, Mindy. It is. I was showing everybody a few minutes ago, Mindy. It is so much better. Look at that. It's almost regular size. And my middle finger has healed completely, which is great because, you know, I use that a lot. Okay, so anyway, there's certain things that happen when we look at astrology. Okay, so when we're looking at astrology now, we're looking at people that are fighting against some sort of oppression. Maybe they are dealing with a bully. Maybe like there's something that they need to fight against. Here is another reason why I really wanted all this written down. Because it helps me keep my thoughts together and my thoughts are scattered. I have no idea how I used to teach classes. Well, I used to have my notes in front of me when I taught classes, and it kept my ADHD focused so that I could teach things. Yeah, it's crazy. Mercury and Fred probably are kindred spirits. And if you need me to send Mercury out to Nebraska, I am happy to do that, Kelsey. I absolutely am. See, Mindy, I knew that we were close because, yes, we use our middle finger all the time because we're not that kind of spiritual, right? Yeah. So anyway, I was, you know, sitting with my hand up last week because my finger was throbbing. And so I'm like doom scrolling on YouTube, Instagram, and stuff like that. So I started binge watching. Now, there's a couple of people that I really love on YouTube. All right. One of them is CC Suarez. She does like deep dives into like people and like MLM stuff, whatever. Then wait, she led me to this other lady named Sherilyn. Hang on. Sherilyn Doyle, maybe? Yeah. So then they had a podcast together and I watched that podcast. But Sherilyn does true crime stuff. She's also in Canada. So so Sherilyn does true crime stuff. So I watch her stuff. But then they led me to this podcast called Do We Know Them? And these two ladies on Do We Know Them are like, they were really popular on something called Vine, and they have a long YouTube presence. But they came together and decided to do a podcast together called Do We Know Them? They got into a mix-up, some sort of trouble with this other creator on TikTok. And she got an attorney that is batshit crazy. Excuse my language, YouTube, but that woman is batshit crazy. So this attorney goes after them for copyright claims, defamation of character, all this stuff. And you have to know on YouTube, you can have a copyright claim and then settle it and it doesn't like hurt you. But when you have a copyright strike, you can only have 3 copyright strikes and it shuts down your channel. Like, I mean, you are banned from YouTube. And that's a pretty heavy thing. It would be like if I decided to show, I don't know, the entire movie When Harry Met Sally. Just show it to you guys right now, live and in person. That would be a heavy copyright strike, okay? So it's that kind of stuff. Like, you don't usually go straight to copyright strike. You go through like copyright claims and then to copyright strike. Well, this attorney went crazy. And because they said this creator's name, said her name, she hit them with a copyright strike. They had 2 strikes before they even turned around and saw it. So this, and by the way, this happened in 2023. This has been 2 years going. So they finally go before the Copyrights Claims Board. And that was last March, I believe. It was almost exactly 2 years when they went before the Copyrights Claims Board. They had to go to court. Yeah. And the Copyrights Claims Board threw it out. They were like, no, this is total, like they said in legalese basically that this should never have come here. It's not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. So they felt vindicated, but they still have this, them and some other creators have this slander or defamation case against them from the same attorney and the same like young lady on TikTok. But when I was looking at this, I was sitting and because I was binge watching it. Because, I didn't want to watch, like, I don't know, train stuff. Dr. Seuss was watching hockey. One of the boys was watching trains. The other one was watching Lego stuff. I can't. It's just too much for me. So I just put my headphones in and I just was binge watching the Do We Know Them, trying to figure out what had happened. So I started looking at that and I was like, it's still going on, but now is the time that the bully is going to get what's coming to her. This bully of an attorney is going to get what's coming to her, and she's going to get it in a big way because Neptune in Aries wants to be seen. Neptune in Aries wants, all fire signs want to be seen, right? And Neptune in Aries needs to be like seen. And I was like, I kind of dig that. And by the way, on Do We Know Them, we've got an Aries and a Leo in that podcast. I was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a good year for this, 100%. And I thought, oh, this is so cool. Like, they are fighting the good fight. They're not backing down. They're not just crumbling and going, hey, yeah, I'm going to let you run all over me. I'm going to let you go to this. Just like that man in this industry, even though he felt bad for not standing up for some of these other people, which, by the way, now he is supporting some of the people that were sort of buried, where those men the conglomerate tried to put these like smaller franchises out of business. He is supporting them and helping to bring them back up. And he said, I feel like, he was like, because he's a very spiritual person. And he said, I feel like I should have stood up then, like 8 years ago. He said, but I didn't have like enough. He felt like he didn't have enough support in his brand new, like where he was. And so he says, I feel like I have enough support now. So he's helping these other people get back started, helping them, like if they're in another industry already, he wants to support them. He's like, because he knew a lot about like them this conglomerate trying to take out some of these smaller people. So he was like, I'm watching these people from the conglomerate get caught doing like negative things. They're constantly in some sort of scandal. They owe the IRS. They're like looking for money. They're doing things just really like, I don't want to say amorally because morals are, I know, but without integrity. And he's just like, they're finally getting called out on it. And it started last year. And it really is like, I'm like, yeah, it's leading up to it. Because I think that some of these bigger bullies are going to get called out. And I say bullies because now everybody has a social media platform. Everybody, if somebody pisses you off at Walmart, you could come on to here and you could be like, hey, I got a lot to say about this person, blah, 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 or this small business that I went to and they were like really shifty or did me wrong or whatever. And so I've really just been paying attention to that so that some of these people, if they're wrong, if they're just calling people out and they're just like trying to get a viral video, or they're, I don't want to say a Karen, but Janet sounds better. Is anybody here named Janet? I'm just checking on YouTube and Facebook because I know a lot of Karens that are really great and really nice people. Janet seems a little better. If anybody here is a Janet, I'm really, really sorry. I'll call you Jan. That's better. But the thing is, they're calling people out for like being a clout chaser. Yeah, you were wrong. And getting on and just understanding that, what is going on with you guys? Y'all have been quiet for like hours and now you're acting crazy. I mean, I love you a lot, but I need to talk. So this is the thing. Hey Renee, how are you? What is a good fight to you? And what is something where you go, okay, I'm going to step back. I'm going to step back. Because I thought about this man in this industry, and I tried to tell him that he doesn't need to feel guilty about that. He wasn't feeling very strong in his position. In this new franchise that he had, he wasn't feeling very strong in it. So why? He's like, I felt so bad. I felt guilty. And I was like, okay, but it wasn't that you were drowning, but you were just like coming up to the surface. How are you going to save all these other people? And I said, the thing is, you got really strong in your position and you're going back to help them. And yeah, it's taken you a few years, but you've been very supportive and you've been helping people like come back from this. And I said, because that's pretty bad. And I said, some of these people that you're talking about are young. They were young then, and now they're just hitting their stride. They're like in their 30s. And I said, that this is a huge difference. And I said, what if you had tried to make a stand 8 years ago and you still weren't very strong in your position? So what if they took you out? You wouldn't have been able to help anybody now. And I said, so there is a time to step back. There is a time to step back and recognize, hey, I can't do anything now. I can do something, but I can't make a huge dent now. But you may be able to make a huge dent later. You just don't know. So there is a time that we have to stand up and fight the good fight. And I know a lot of people, especially empaths out there, don't like confrontation. Okay? And there are people that will manipulate other people because they know that they don't like confrontation. There are also people that will like treat you badly if you are very direct and you are confrontational. I'm going to tell you right now, see, he's confrontational. I don't think he's a bad guy. He's confrontational with his tail. But I have been accused of that. I have been accused of abusing someone or being abusive because I was confrontational. Because I walked up and said, hey, why is this happening? Why are you treating me like this? Why are you doing this? Okay, now I have cat hair all over me. Because I stood up and said, this isn't right. This isn't right. They labeled me as abusive. Yeah, and this was a woman who was supposed to be a girl's girl, you know, who was supposed to be standing up for other women, labeled me that way. And I was like, okay. So then for literally almost 2 years after that, I was like trying to not get into it. I was trying to just be like, I'm not going to say anything. You know, somebody would say something mean or bad, and I would just be like, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to be confrontational. I don't want to be abusive. I don't want to be, this bad person. That's what I kept telling myself until I got pushed so far that I was just like, okay, F it. I am in now. I am jumping in with both feet, and I was just like, screw you. And when I started that, it was really bizarre how all of a sudden people that I thought were my friends, people that I thought that I was close to, they dropped off. And people that were like really championing me, they were like, ha, it's about damn time. It's about time. How are you going to let them push you around like that? Never thought of it that way. And so it was really, it was really hard for me to, I was like, I've got to find a balance here. But I never thought that I was being abusive because I would just call it out. And I was like, but I thought because this woman was such a girl's girl, she was so like, let's empower women, let's do the best thing for women, unless it was a woman that was telling her that she was full of shit. Yeah. And then, of course, everybody is going to believe the weepy one. Oh my gosh, it was so stressful. It was so stressful calling me out. Yeah. And I'm not crying, you know. So it's much easier to believe the weepy one. Yeah. So, I know, Mindy, we got to get together. We got to get together with all these people, like, in person, because we got the Nebraska contingent that's going to have to remind me how to live in the cold, because I have forgotten. After being in Colorado for 11 years, you would think that I would remember, but I am a Georgia girl. I was just transplanted out there for a while, and then I came back. So, yeah. So we should all get together sometime, Mindy. We really should. But I think it's important that we do stand up for ourselves and make a show of just like, we don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to be aggressive. You can make a stand for yourself without being aggressive. No matter what, somebody's going to have an opinion about it. I'm going to tell you that right now. Somebody is going to have an opinion, and they're going to be like, oh, she's aggressive. She's abusive. I'm sure she was the wrong one. I'm sure it was her because, she's the one making noise. But ultimately, people are going to see who that person really is. It may take some time, but ultimately people will see who those people are. And I say this because I'm telling you, I've been talking to clients like crazy, because I felt so bad when my finger was like, I was trying to shuffle cards and stuff. So I was really only like taking like maybe 1 or 2 clients a day for a little bit. So I've been catching up to say the least. But this, oh, sorry, I'm just double checking. Mindy's in New Jersey, y'all. It's cold in New Jersey, wind chill of -25. The high is 10 degrees in Nebraska. Not sure that I envy either one of y'all. Yeah. New Jersey, Nebraska, it's pretty cold. Yeah. So I was like Googling and looking at all of these things online, and I stumbled across this one thing that was kind of interesting. It's a success bullying website, and I wrote it down in my other notebook, but I was gonna look it up. It's like success bullying dot. It wasn't .com. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's like .net or . Okay, hang on. I'm gonna find this. I can't remember what it is. Um, 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 um. Did I save it? Maybe I saved it. Here it is. Okay, I got it. It is successbullying.us. And it was very interesting how it was talking about bullying in the workplace, how there was an article in there about bullying. It was bullying in the workplace and how it leads to some very powerful people like unaliving themselves. And I was just like, holy crap. Oh my gosh. Like, this stuff didn't end in high school? Are you kidding me? No, they continue it. So, I want you to know that sometimes fighting the good fight is you're you're making a stand for not just yourself but for other people. And it's difficult. It is difficult. It is. But I was so impressed. I was like, "Oh my gosh." Like I didn't even know that existed, but I mean, that's a fantastic thing to have a website, Success Bullying. Okay, what was it again? Successbullying.us. And I gotta say, I was impressed. I mean, I was just like, okay, okay. Like, I'm with you. Hey, Courtney, how are you? Um, but there is a place for standing up for ourselves. There's a time for it. I I have a couple of clients that have gone through some pretty rough divorces in the past few years. One lady was just right off the bat, she was like immediately like, nope, shutting this down. Bye, you're out. And she never looked back. Her ex-husband has tried so hard because they still have um she's a businesswoman, but they still have like one part of their business that is like a shared entity, and he won't let her buy him out. Love it. So she's like, "That's fine. We can still do this." She said, "I have the higher percentage. Like I own the higher percentage of the company, so whatever." So, she had just gotten so frustrated with him, like she was just and she finally just went, "Okay, um he kept trying to wind her up like every time they talked. So she went, "Okay, I'm done. I pay attorneys for this." So instead of him being able to like yell at her and make her feel bad and gaslight her, she just was like, "Talk to me through my attorney." Their daughter's like 18, so she doesn't have to no, she's 19. She doesn't have to talk to him about like their child anymore. She doesn't get she never got child support. And she was just like, whatever. So she just said, if you have anything you need to say to me, you can contact my attorney. And he was texting her and she blocked him. So he emailed her and she blocked him. And she had her attorney like message him and say, "Is there something you need? Like you have all like correspondence has to go through us. It has to go through our office. She will no longer be communicating with you." And so she was just like, that was just one way for me to like take it off my plate. I wasn't going to fight with him anymore. Like that was done. And she said, and now it's time for me just to walk away and do something else. And I don't have to talk to him. Although she did get really good revenge when she bought herself a new car. She bought herself a new car, and like, I think about a month after she bought the car, or it wasn't quite a month after she bought the car, she had to have a business meeting with him. And she pulled up to the restaurant, and she was at the valet, and he was waiting for her outside of the valet because he was going to try to talk to her one way or another. And he was waiting for her outside, and she said, "This is the best revenge of all," because she pulled up, she, handed her keys to the valet, and she said he was just going on and on and on about how, like, "Wow, look at this car, look at this, oh my gosh," and he just kept going on and on about it. And she was just like, "Yeah, okay." And he said, "I'll bet the payments are really setting you back on this." And she said, "Well, I just made the one payment." And he goes, "Oh, so you haven't had it that long?" And she goes, "No, I haven't had it that long, but I only had one payment to make on it." And she said he stood there for a full, like, 30 seconds with his mouth open, realizing that she had paid cash for that car. And because he kept telling everybody that he was the businessman, even though she was in business long before him. Let's be clear about that. She was in business long before him because she's a little older than me. And she was like, "And I'm going to be in business long after him." She said, but he kept telling everybody that he was the businessman, that he was the one pulling the strings, that he was doing all this stuff. And they sit down at this table with these other, like, investors, and they're talking. And she was like, "It wasn't a good deal." She said, "It was not a good deal." And she said, "It was going to make quick money, but it wasn't something that was really an investment." She said, "Because it would make quick money in the beginning, and then we would just be pouring money into it." And so she said no. And the investors turned and looked at him, and she goes, "You can look at him all you want, but I have the higher percentage in the company. No." And she said, You can send me over more documentation, whatever. I'll think about it additionally, but right now, at this time, we are not interested." And she said it shut them up because he had been telling them that she was not the business person. So it really surprises people, you know, when she stands up, when he has to back down after he's been the one telling everybody, like, how great he is. Mm. And again, another client of mine going through a divorce, and that one's been a roller coaster. But I mean, he's drug her through it. And I'm not saying all men are bad, because they're not. At least I hope they're not, because I'm raising two of them. But the thing is, he did something similar with her. They grew a business together. They started this business together, they grew it together, and when they got divorced, they split it in half. His half did not go well because he wasn't taking care of it. Her half has done quite well. And people are now starting to see it wasn't her that was the problem, but she wasn't saying anything. She wasn't speaking up. She wasn't defending herself. Now there's another woman that is letting the attorneys defend her because they've had to go back to court because of contempt charges that he hasn't done what he's supposed to do. And all of this, and she was like, "I didn't want to stand up for myself. I didn't want to stand up for myself." And she's had situations in the past where she was like, I didn't want to stand up for myself because I thought, no, it'll be taken care of. It'll be taken care of. God will take care of this. She's a very good Christian lady. And I was like, but what if you're the instrument? What if you are the instrument that God uses to take care of this problem? Sometimes we need to fight the good fight. Sometimes we have to get in there and say, "You know what? This is the right thing to do," is to stand up and say, "This needs to be done. This needs to be handled." And sometimes it is the time when you're just like, "I'm not in a strong enough position, but I'll do what I can." Like, I'm not going to continue spreading the rumors. I'm not going to continue with this. I'm going to do what I can. That's also an option. And sometimes you just have to step back, not surrender, but just step back. And something happened with the I put that in the description box, and it only translated onto Facebook, not YouTube for some reason. So I'll go back and add that to the description on YouTube, because that was the part of the, it wasn't the title, but it was in the description. So sometimes it is important to step back, to stand down, not surrender, but just step back, maybe regroup, maybe reassess. It's not about each individual battle. It's about, I don't want to say the war, but yeah, it's about the long game. And that's another thing. Make sure you are playing chess while those people are playing checkers. Something is changing astrologically. And I think that a lot of stuff is coming around that we're going to see a system that gets bucked. We're going to see something change with any kind of small oppression or large oppression. We're seeing a change here. I really hope it's for the good, because think about these times. Every time it's been a change for the better. It hasn't been instantaneously changed, and we've still had some wrinkles to iron out, but historically, we didn't have social media like we do today. We didn't have something where everybody could see like what's going on in real life. And still people will side with manipulators, people will side with scammers, people will do that. They will. And they'll try to call out the person that is being victimized. It happens. But you will also see a large number of the population supporting the person who is standing up and who is fighting. So I think that I think it's an important time, but think about like how quickly we are getting news and messages these days. And I think it's making a huge difference in our ability to stand and fight with one another. For one another, not with each other. I hope we're not fighting with each other. Oh my gosh. Sorry, just checking. There is one other thing that I thought was very interesting. It was actually a YouTube short. I told you guys I was doing some crazy YouTube watching for a few days, because there were times, I'm not kidding, my finger was throbbing so hard last week. I was like, ah, like I would just like sit and put my hand up against the wall, hook my arm over. I have some like sconce lamp things. I hooked my arm over it and just rested my hand because I was tired of holding my arm up. But my finger was just like, it was an unfun time. But it seems like it's stopped for the most part. Anyway, I was watching all this stuff online, and besides the Do We Know Them podcast, by the way, they have a GoFundMe. It's the Girlies versus Janet. That's not the actual name of the attorney. The attorney is like Jeanette, but they all call her Janet. It is a fascinating story. I encourage you guys to watch it. It's some crazy shit, okay? I mean, you can't make this up. Dynasty wasn't this good, all right? I'm old. Dynasty, Dallas was not this good. General Hospital may have touched on it, but this is some crazy stuff. So, but it's called the Girlies versus Janet. So the TikTokers are, I love her, Caffeinated Kitty. I think she's my spirit animal. And I tried to duet a one of her videos from TikTok, and I'm not good at that stuff because I'm in my 50s. I don't know how to do this stuff right. So it sounds like shit, but I put it on my TikTok page like last year or something. And then Becca, I forgot Becca's name, her last name. And then the Do We Know Them girls. It's actually only one of the Do We Know Them girls. It's Lily Marston. Marston, I think that's right. Becca Day. Ha, yes. Becca Day, Lily Marston, and Caffeinated Kitty are against this attorney. So I highly recommend you check out the Do We Know Them podcast. There's stuff on there all about like Janet. Cece Suarez has a whole playlist with other creators too in it about Jeanette Braun, I think is her name. It's very entertaining. There's been a ton of people reporting on this woman since all of this manifested. And it has been 2 years, people. 2023. Yeah. Fascinating. But I was sitting with my hand up, so I was just like watching all this stuff. It was fascinating. But I found this YouTube short, and it was see, I had all this stuff written down. Hang on. Oh, for Pete's sake. Cody Sanchez. Cody Sanchez on YouTube was interviewing somebody, and I don't know who he is, but it said start asking what you can sustain. And the whole thing was, he said, you can't escape the bullshit. So whatever makes you feel good is also going to make you feel bad. Now, this is a synopsis. It's not exactly what they said because I don't have my notes, so I don't know exactly what they said, and I don't know this man's name. I know her because I started following her on YouTube because she does a lot of financial stuff. She's a businesswoman. Cody Sanchez. And I think it's Cody with a C and not a K, but don't quote me on that. So she was interviewing this guy, and he said, like, whatever makes us feel good will also make you feel bad. Like, if you marry the love of your life, that's who you're going to fight with. If you buy a wonderful house, you're going to have to constantly maintain it. It's that kind of thing. Like, there's something that you have to sacrifice. There is a give and take. But again, it's what you want to invest in. What are you investing your time and your energy in? Oh my gosh, that cat scared me. What are you investing your time and your energy in? Is it into something that you love, or is it into something that you hate? And if it's something that you hate, then why are you doing it? Why aren't you standing up for yourself? And I say this because I feel like I tell people this all the time. Yes, we all need jobs. And I gotta tell you, I do YouTube because it's fun for me. It is, I consider it a job, but it's fun for me. It doesn't make me a ton of money. It doesn't. But there are, I do a litany of other things, but I've had jobs that I just could not stand, but I needed the money. We've all been there. We have. But if you're being disrespected, if you're not being treated, with respect and integrity, if you're not in that kind of place, it's time to start looking around. It's time to start putting some energy into finding your way out instead of putting energy into just getting through the day. Instead of just putting energy into, I hate it. Well, none of us like getting up early in the morning and going to work. I No, that is not something I love. And I have to get up early every day because I have to wake up the wrecking crew, thing one and thing two, and get them dressed for school. And if that sounds like fun to you, I have a guest room that you can come and stay in. Yeah. And you can wake my kids up and feed the dogs and feed the cats. And yeah, you can do that. Absolutely. That's not something any of us just love doing. Even if we love our jobs, it's still work. There's still some component that we're just like, oh my gosh, this is not my favorite. And honestly, with my job, I love my job, but I do my least favorite things first. You know, I go visit my booth, I redo it, I like put my stuff, like make sure everything looks fresh and just like, sit it out there and just like dress it up, whatever I got to do. And then I come home and do the fun stuff. That's me. I don't love learning how to do a website, but I spend an awful lot of time trying to build a website, trying to research, trying to do all this stuff. I spend an awful lot of time doing that. Yeah, I know. I've just really, I'm like, what's happening with me here? I keep thinking I've found someone that can help me with my website, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to let them do their thing. I'm going to let them do their thing, and then it doesn't get done. It's fine. It's fine. I'm figuring it out. There is one person that I haven't called that I've been given his number to try and like get him to give me a tutorial of WordPress. Yeah, it's a fun little project but that's not something I enjoy, but it's definitely something that is necessary. So that's something that I study, but it's not my favorite part of my job. Yeah. Just like my favorite part of being a mom is not cleaning the bathroom after 2 children have like run through it. I mean, what is it about boys? Hello? I mean, the toilet is a pretty decent target. Let's try and hit it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, fight the good fight. Backing down doesn't mean surrender. If you're wrong, say it. If you're wrong, surrender. I mean, not surrender, just admit you're wrong. That's okay too. But the thing is, a lot of people that I'm talking to lately are the ones that I'm seeing the bullies getting their justice. And the people that I'm talking to are at least witnessing that they're seeing some justice. And I'm sure if social media had been around in my 20s, people would have seen some justice, because there was a stretch of time that I was not in a healed place, and I was a total ass in my 20s. I mean, there was a period of time that I was just like, ooh. And so when I started getting treated badly again for the second time, like it happened in like when I was younger, and then, then I was an asshole, and it came back around that I started getting treated badly again. I was like, I don't like this cycle. And I started to change it. And again, a lot of people didn't like me for it. But that's okay. I don't speak to any of those people anymore. So it's good times. It is. That's a good way to put it, Mel, is fight for justice. And yes, sometimes it is fighting for justice. Sometimes it's just being supportive of people that are fighting. Sometimes it's just giving somebody else a leg up. But justice isn't served in one fell swoop either, which is disappointing, but it's not. So you can't escape the bullshit. You can't. Fight for what is something meaningful to you and fight the good fight. Don't go overboard, don't go underhanded. And again, sometimes the quiet way is the right way. It's just standing up and not being run over. Because what if Spirit is using you as the instrument? What if Spirit is using you to stand up and say, this is not right? This isn't justice. I mean, maybe just, it could be anything, just something small or something large, but there's also no reason, and I can't even believe that, you know what, I'm not even going to get into it. I just can't believe that some of the things that are happening in our world is happening. Oh my gosh, it is 10 o'clock. Good night, Mindy. I'm wrapping it up, I swear. Because Mindy has to get up at 5:30. So she's on the East Coast. It is late out here. So I am going to wrap it up. Fight the good fight, okay? It's not abusive for you to stand up for yourself. Don't let somebody gaslight you into saying, you know, this hurt me, and have them turn around and say, well, you don't think you did anything? Is that what I said? Literally, one of my clients said that today. She said, he keeps just saying, well, you don't think you did anything? And she's like, that's not what I said. You tell me how I hurt you. I'm telling you how you hurt me. It's not abusive to be confrontational. It's not abusive to stand up for yourself. It's not. Fight the good fight. If it does become too much, have an intermediary. I mean, maybe you don't have an attorney, but, you know, just say, I'm so sorry, all communication has to go through email. All communication has to go through text. If you have to communicate with that person. There are options. There are options. Keep your head together and fight the good fight. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy to keep your cool. It's not. But it'll be worth it. If I can find the rest of my notes on all this stuff, go check out successbullying.us. Go check out Cody Sanchez. Go to it. It's difficult because there's a natural variety in what works best for people. Some function best in the morning while others do so at night. Some prefer. Yep, I agree with that. Some learn by doing while others thrive theoretically. Yes. Yeah, I'll agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Baz, I like that though. I like what you had to say. I'm so sorry I'm saying your name wrong. I'm probably saying it wrong, but and there is a variety. And I think for the first time, I think more people, and it's not perfect. It is not a perfect system at all. It's not, but for the first time ever, I think that we are more open to that there is a different way. And that is the beauty, from the Netherlands. Hi. There is a beauty in seeing that when Uranus goes into Gemini, we have sort of an awakening, a mental awakening, and we start thinking outside of the box, and we start having a discovery, if you will. And I think that I really do feel like this could be an opportunity, because I feel like we've grown a lot as a society in the last 50 years. And I say that because I'm 53. So I've seen a bit, but we're really, really different than we were in the 80s. We're really different than we were in the 90s. Thank God. And I love it. I love it because even in the 90s, we had movies, and I again, was listening to all this stuff online this weekend while my finger was getting better. We used the R word in movies a lot in the 90s and a lot in the 80s, but we don't do that now. And that's not been that long ago. I mean, that's been just in the last 25, 30 years. So when you start looking at it, like how much we have progressed, where we are more inclusive, we are like, we do honor the individual, we honor the individual's way of thinking. Not everyone, and the system isn't perfect, but it's getting there. It's so much better than it was, but we're not where we need to be yet. And I do think that that is the wonderful thing of seeing like some of these placements with Neptune in Aries and Uranus going into Gemini and Pluto is in Aquarius. There are some really amazing placements happening right now astrologically, and I'm hoping that we are able to make some real changes. And I look forward to it because, again, we're not where we used to be, but we're so much better than we were. I mean, we're not where we need to be, but we're so much better than we were. We are. I mean, I just think about like my mom and my grandmother were not allowed to open up a bank account or have credit cards in their names unless they had a male signatory. It could have been their father, their brother, or their husband, but they had to have a male. That was in the 70s. That wasn't, you know, a crazy past thing. That was in the 70s. So I think we are moving towards something better. Here's hoping. That's all I'm saying. Fight the good fight. You can do it. Yay! All right, you guys. I thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And hey, I appreciate like a whole bunch of you watched the mid-month numerology that I just put out. I'm sorry again that it was late. It was cold. I had a broken heater and a throbbing finger. But it is a lot better. It's a lot better. So much better. I may actually be able to put my fingernails on next week. All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful night. I will see you again really soon. If I find my notebook and there's anything that I need to update, I'll come back and do a surprise live. All right. Well, I hope you guys have a great night. I hope you have an awesome, awesome week. I think we have a Cazimi tomorrow with the Sun and Mercury. So that Cazimi with the Sun and Mercury is going to strengthen Mercury. It's really going to knock it out of the park. So be prepared. Love it. Love it. All right. Well, until we see each other again, what are you going to do? Get out there and make your magic. Bye, y'all.